to you, Honorable Speaker, the list of imbalances that we caused in the so-called public participation roads. Finally, Honorable Speaker, in the same spirit of imbalance, a road was made 5 years between Kombewa and Maseno. And the bit just stopped in the side of Nyanza. The part that remains in Muhaya and Luanda has remained for the last 6 years. Could the CS speak on this? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Member for Wajir South.
Thank you very much, Mr.
This is
Speaker.
the last batch, Waziri.
Actually, it's baffling to hear the pampered parts of the country complaining about marginalization. What are we to say, those of us from northeastern Kenya,
Ask your question.
which is a monument for marginalization? Mr. Speaker, my question is, there is a difference between bad roads and no roads. What we have in northeastern Kenya are no roads. We cannot even describe them as roads. As we speak, 3.5 weeks is what it's, for the last 3.5 weeks, no vehicle has entered my constituency. And we keep hearing from the government promises that they will deliver the Horn of Africa Gateway project, which many people in Northeastern today believe is a hoax.
Remember?
The road is 50 kilometers away from Wajir. When are we going to see contractors on the ground building that road, which the people of northeastern Kenya have been waiting for the past 60 years? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Cynthia Muge. Give her the mic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to appreciate you, the Chair and the President of the Republic of Kenya, for making it possible for the CSS to appear before this House and answer serious and pertinent questions. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that I was part of the people that went to the office of the CS, whom he says 26 counties have been there, and he was not generous with information and data, but I want to appreciate him for being fair today. My question, Honorable Speaker, is that what exactly is emergency? Because when I look at the road that was considered under emergency in Nandi County, I fail to understand what is emergency. On that question, again, Honorable Speaker, I want to ask the CS, what measures is he putting in place to ensure that this emergency, whatever it means, is not used to perpetuate iniquity in the allocation of road funds, Honorable Speaker?
Member, is it Kimelu? Kimelu. Yes, you are Kimelu, right? Yeah, give to Kimelu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the CS, from my desk, Mr. Speaker, I wrote 8 letters to the CS, and he has never answered any letter concerning the road from Sultan Ahmud, which connects Kajiado and Makueni through Kilungu. And Mr. Speaker, that road was started 2016, and only 3 kilometers, which has not been done up to date. I want to know the CS, why is he not responding to my letters and the measures he's taking, because now the road is completely cut off at a place called Kikoko, and it's not passable, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Minister, honorable members, we must have a cutoff. Minister, can you answer those? 8 interventions. Order, Ruku, take your seat.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
And the general questions, Minister, marginalization,
And
inadequate resources, inequitable distribution.
as a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, yes, the question asked by my friend Honorable Mili regarding the roads that we supported in Fangano Island, Mr. Speaker, through the emergency funding. Again, Mr. Speaker, Fangano Island is one of the marginalized places. No single road, no access to the highland. And Mr. Speaker, we thought it is one of the places that should have emergency support. The plans were done in the previous administration, but was not supported. So when I got to office, Mr. Speaker, I had a choice to sign for allocation of those resources or to go back to the political cocoons, Mr. Speaker, of saying the MP is from this party or the region is this region, and withdraw signing those resources. Instead, Mr. Speaker, being a nationalist and being a public servant, I did what is right to be done by making sure that Fangano Island gets its rightful share. And it's not Fangano Island only. Honorable Milley knows that there are further resources supporting more roads in Homa Bay that we have supported. Mr. Speaker, on the question of, so I agree that the report, which was a question for Honorable Mboko Milema and Honorable Milson here, Millie Odhiambo, is that, Mr. Speaker, I just don't want to say the information is with the same budget committee that Honorable Millie sits in. Actually, it's the budget you passed yourselves. If the budget policy office was to be asked today to bring it and print for every member of parliament, you would have it in this house. In fact, I will struggle more to get that report than yourselves. But nevertheless, since I respect the orders of this house and has been requested by members of parliament, I will table that report to the house based on the directives. Mr. Speaker, it is not true. The majority whip, Mr. Speaker, has said some places the roads are ongoing under RMLF. It is not allowed, Mr. Speaker, for road maintenance levy to support fully development. What happens is that there is a process called stage improvement that we try to support. And sometimes it is for the roads that have been worn out that are actually being maintained. It rarely happens that you start from zero a road using road maintenance levy. But there are cases like the one I said of Lamu, where because of outright marginalization, we end up doing it because we want to make sure that those people and those areas and some places where there are security problems so that we can bring them to the stage where all of us must be. Mr. Speaker, on the question of Honorable Sarah Korere, it is true. I am very much aware, Mr. Speaker, about the road from Churo, Mukie, Amaya, Tangul Bay, up to Chemalingot, Loruk, up to Loruk actually, both requested by Honorable Sarah Korere and Honorable Kamket. This is a very strategic road, Mr. Speaker. I have been saying between that road and the one that goes to Kapedo and then Lokichar, Mr. Speaker, we should be able to ask our development partners to support us. If we do those two roads, we will have dealt a big blow to banditry and bandits in this republic. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I will be submitting this proposal to our development partners to try to support us in the same project that I've been doing in the roads that are in the northern part of the country. Mr. Speaker, on the question of Dol Dol Road, it is true. We will do everything, as I have already explained to the Honorable Member elsewhere, to see how we can support. And Honorable Kiunjuri was also one of the members that came to ask this question before in my office. On the question of Kombere, Maseno Road, there was no, Mr. Speaker, deliberate decision to separate the people of Nyanza and the Western by doing only Kisumu and supporting the other side. It's just that the contractor stopped somewhere near the border to Mwaya. Mr. Speaker, as soon as we get the resources, it is part of the rubric of the roads we support. He will continue to complete the road to its logical end. On the Wajir constituency, I want to assure the Honorable Member that most of the Horn of Africa projects, the contractors have now been identified, they are going on site, and that, Mr. Speaker, the remaining that one we re-advertised and one that is about to be advertised will change the northeastern part of the country. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Cynthia Muge, my friend, has raised a very important issue as far as emergency fund. It is true that in one of his projects in our county, we supported through emergency funding, particularly in a place where there's a TTC and MTC and everything, and things were a problem in Mosoriot, Mr. Speaker. I would not, I will make sure that this is not going to happen in other parts of the country or across the country, that it's not going to be dispersed marginally. What we did in Mosoriot, Honorable Cynthia, is exactly what we did in Fangano Island to support places, because particularly Nandi County, when I realized that they had not got any new project for many years, we had to support Mosoriot Township roads, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that we address that marginalization. And for avoidance of doubt, Mr. Speaker, because this debate has been going on for long, Nandi County, Mr. Speaker, roads that have stalled since 2014. Mr. Speaker, the roads that connect, that are in Tinderet constituency and Mosop constituency, Mr. Speaker, and Chesumei, we have re-advertised those roads in a very short time. And we thank the Attorney General for cooperating with my office to allow us to re-advertise those roads to get a good contractor, Mr. Speaker, who is going to deliver. I know some of their local leaders have said they don't want contractors from certain country. But Mr. Speaker, my business is to make sure that we get a contractor that has the capacity to deliver roads for the people of Nandi. I am not in the business of knowing, Mr. Speaker, or facilitating friends of politicians or individuals to get contracts. My business is to tell the agency, use proper tendering process and get us contractors who can get the people of Nandi from the morass and the problems they have had from 2014, and not to please certain individuals who have certain contractors who are in their pockets, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, finally, the Sultanahmud Road, I am reliably informed, Mr. Speaker, that this is also one of those roads that have waited for far too long to get the support of the government. And I want to inform you, Honorable Kimilu, that the first thing I want to say is that all your letters, all letters from members of parliament, we mark it to the relevant office of the PS, and we put all the requests on a dashboard to make sure that we track and implement. The only problem is that I get at least 200-300 letters. Maybe we have not been able. Sometimes an MP writes a letter and writes a reminder. So maybe the mistake on our side is not replying back to the members of parliament. But as a matter of fact, every single letter that comes from honorable member, and whether from this House or Senate or other leaders in the country, are documented, and it informs the prioritization of the roads. And for your road in the Sultanahmud, we are now assessing it for purpose of restoration, at least because of this El Nino situation. As you know, El Nino at the moment is affecting Northeastern, Coast, and Upper Eastern, and the Lower Eastern. All those places, the initial assessment is that we need about 15 billion first to restore the road. That is why the 1 billion we got from contingency fund, we are just using it to make sure that we connect counties. And that's why the place in Abaswein there, Kotulo to Mandera. I was in Garissa the other day. Today, if you see the news today or you get the information from social media, the road in Lamu, connecting Lamu to Mombasa, has been destroyed because of the rains. And so we will continue assessing it. Eventually, we will now sit down and say, what is there from emergency fund? What can we come back to this House to try to allocate for purpose of restoration of our roads? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I'm afraid we have to end here. I'm sorry to all those members who have burning questions. I've assured you I'll give you a kamkunji with this minister, and I'll give you time to ask each and every conceivable question. Some members have come here with very burning issues and very genuine and legitimate concerns, and time is not on our side now. We have spent almost 1.5 hours on one question. Let's move to the next order. Yes, Minister?
Speaker, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to come here. I know there was a specific question sent to me regarding Mau Mau roads, Mr. Speaker. It falls within all these roads that are pending across the country are the same. And we do not discriminate on any road because it is Mau Mau or it is any other road. I don't know, Christian, whatever. We are going to support all these roads as soon as we get the resources. And no part of the country has received more consideration than the other. And even as Honorable Mukunji has been pushing me, we will make sure that we compensate those who need to be compensated. We also check some counties like Embu, that though neighboring counties have Mau roads, is one of also the marginalized counties in that region. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I seriously beg you, Mr. Speaker, this is a formal setting. But if next year you can put for us a day, we have an informal setup to discuss the future of our roads with the honorable members, we will be very grateful from the ministry side.
Get in touch with my office.
I
then
thank you,
we'll
Mr. Speaker.
agree on the program and the timing. Honorable members. Honorable members, yes, can I hear your suggestion? Jared?
Honorable Speaker, a very quick one. When I firstly saw the list which has generated debate here, I firstly thought that it was fake. And I believed at worst that the minister was going to distance himself from this list. But he has owned it. Honorable Speaker, this is my suggestion. Because it has been demonstrated here beyond doubt that there was a lot of inequalities in the distribution of these roads, why can't the minister go back and cancel everything so that we begin on a new slate, Honorable Speaker? Just like CDF, which cuts across all constituencies within the Republic of Kenya, why can't we adopt this model? Because even with the upsurge of El Nino flooding now, Honorable Speaker, Bungoma, where you come from, and I was shocked that even the third in command's county was left out of this scheme, Honorable Speaker. Why can't we start from afresh, have all those tenders already given out, cancelled, so that we have equal distribution of these monies? Because with El Nino, each and every place in this country is now under a lot of attack on those roads, Honorable Speaker. Nyando constituency, so as I finish, Honorable Speaker, Nyando is not...
Thank you. We will prosecute all this in the Kamkunji. Thank you, Jared, for mentioning my county. Yes. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Jared is my friend, and I think I ably prosecuted the part of the question until members have agreed that we need to sit together and see the public participation resources. So on the question of floods, we will make sure that we will not distribute equally. We will have to distribute based on the damage, because this is a restoration fund. We must deal, the roads that are going to be affected most must receive the highest resources. And as you can see now, the northeastern part and parts of Nyanza, and as I said, upper eastern, lower eastern, and coast are the most affected in the country. We hope that in the next 1 month, we don't have also highest El Nino roads on the western part of the country, because as I have told you, we cannot carry the burdens that come with this El Nino any further with the resources, the little resources we have.
Thank you, CS. You may now take your leave. Honorable members, you remember I informed the House that the Honorable Alice Nganga and Honorable Sheikh will be given 15 minutes each to address the House. We now go to that, which is still at statement level. Between the two of you, who goes first? Honorable Alice Nganga or Sheikh? Alice, you can go first. Hold on, they call. We're still at statements, right? Yes, go ahead, Alice.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to make a statement on legislative proposal, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2023. The legislative proposal seeks to amend Article 89 of the Constitution to provide that the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission shall ensure that the second review of constituencies shall not result in the loss of a constituency. Honorable Speaker, as you are aware, the first review was undertaken in March 2012 by the Andrew Rigare team, which is now the de facto interim independent boundary review commission. Honorable Speaker, the 2012 boundary review did not, however, resort to the loss of any constituency, despite the constituencies not complying with the population quota requirement. Honorable Speaker, this was due to the provision in the Constitution, which is found in the 6th schedule to the Constitution, in particular paragraph 27(4), which provide that the Boundary Commission shall ensure that the first review of the constituencies undertaken in terms of the Constitution shall not result in the loss of a constituency existing on the effective date. Honorable Speaker, this provision, being a transitional provision, is now spent, and therefore the constituencies that were protected in the first review now faces to be scrapped. Honorable Speaker, the 27 constituencies that were protected during the first review were as follows. Allow me, Honorable Speaker, to read them out. Voi constituency, Wandanyi constituency, Mwatate, Bura, Isiolo South, Samburu East, Resamis, North Hora, Saku, Kirome, Makueni, Mbere North, Mathioya, Daragwa, Budarangi, Vihiga, Udhaya, Mathioya, Kangima, Marquette East, Keio North, Tetu, Mogotio, Ramu East, Ramu West, and Muvita.
What's your point of order? I think you've been given the wrong mic.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker is the member in order to mislead this House by saying that Makueni is protected. As you know, Makueni has more than 200 voters registered, 200,000 voters.
Proceed, Honorable Member. You got the point of information.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me proceed. Honorable Speaker, you will agree with me that the people of the 27 constituencies have a right to be represented. If the second review of the boundary constituency, which is due to be undertaken by March next year, 2024, takes place, then the people in the 27 constituencies may lose representation in this House. Honorable Speaker, from the list that I have just read, the constituencies hold significant cultural and development for the people. Merging these constituencies would result to a loss of feeling of identity and control of the people in terms of local development in their constituencies. Honorable Speaker, further, should the next review result to the loss of any constituency, we should be denying the great people of all the 27 constituencies the much needed social and economic development, in particular, which has been achieved through the allocation of CNGCDF. Honorable Speaker, you will agree with me that the issue of review of the constituency boundaries is an emotive issue that can cause unnecessary disharmony and conflict, especially to the great people of Kenya who are peace-loving and have been operating peacefully in their existing constituency. In this regard, I dare ask why merge them? Honorable Speaker, it is a result of foregoing grave concern that I took up the initiative to amend the Constitution to further protect the constituency from the second review of constituency boundaries. Honorable Speaker, it is worth noting that the issue of protecting the constituency also featured heavily in the National Dialogue Committee stakeholders' engagement, and the public expressed concern on the need to ensure their right to representation is upheld. Honorable Speaker, this is the basis of my legislative proposal, which seeks to amend Article 89 of the Constitution to ensure that the second review shall not result to the loss of any of the 27 constituencies in recognition of the right to representation of the people from the 27 constituencies. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I'm urging the members of this House to support the legislative proposal. As a House that is established under Article 95 of the Constitution to represent the people of these constituencies, we are here to do exactly that by legislating to ensure that the right to representation of the people of Kenya is upheld. Honorable Speaker, with these few remarks, allow me to quote the words from the 16th US President, Abraham Lincoln, who once said, "I have never had a feeling politically that did not spring from the sentiments embroidered in the Declaration of Independence." Honorable Speaker, for me, in this case of the 27 constituencies, allow me to go on record and state that I have never had a conviction that does not spring from the guiding principle, which is the welfare of the people of Kenya. This is what I stand for, and I am here on behalf of the people of the 27 constituencies to ensure their right of representation is not taken away by the second review. Honorable Speaker, we know once upon a time, there were 210 constituencies in Kenya. When the review came, it did not take away the 2010 constituencies away. Rather, it added 70 more constituencies, and that is why we are 290 constituencies today. Even right now, the IEBC should look into it. Instead of getting away with the 27 constituencies, they should be looking on a way on how to add more constituencies rather than taking away 27 constituencies that are already represented by honorable members of this House. Honorable Speaker, it is good, even if Thika is not one of them, but once you come to this House, you are no longer representing only your constituency. You represent all the constituencies in this republic. And that's why I took an initiative to make sure that the 27 constituencies continue existing even after March. And that's why I stood today to bring this statement to this House and tell members, let us protect the 27 constituencies, even if we are going to add the other constituencies. But the 27 should continue existing. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Bashir.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is a personal statement on the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2023, specifically Article 88 of the Constitution of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 1147A, and your permission, I wish to make the following statement on this important piece of legislation. Honorable Speaker, the principal object of my bill is to amend the Constitution to ensure a continuation of the function of IEBC as per Section 4, 7A, and 7B of the Act. Further, this bill seeks to ensure that in case where the Commission is not constituted and can therefore not gazette a constituency returning officer to conduct a by-election, that there is an officer, most probably the Chief Executive Officer of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, who can gazette a constituency returning officer. That this is also provided for under Article 1012 of the Constitution. Currently, Honorable Speaker, the Commission is bereft of the chairperson, vice chairperson, and the other Commission members. That Section 7A and 7B of the IEBC Act 2011 cannot be applied to resolve the vacancy of the chairperson and members of the Commission. This has resulted in some constituencies and county assembly wards that were scheduled to have by-elections go without representation, contrary to the provisions of Chapter 7 of the Constitution. My amendment bill proposes amendments to Article 88 to provide that when the Commission is not constituted, the Secretary of the Commission, who is also the CEO, can perform the functions of the Commission that are only limited to conducting by-elections pursuant to Article 101(4)(b) of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, currently the IEBC has no commissioners. We found ourselves in this situation. The terms of the chairperson and two other members have been expired, and the rest having been removed and or resigned from their offices. IEBC is therefore not properly constituted and lacks quorum to conduct its business and execute its mandate. There have been announced 2 vacancies in the office of the members of parliament for Banisa and Magarini constituencies. It is on this background that I am proposing a legislative proposal seeking to amend the law to ensure that in case where the commission is not constituted and can therefore not gazette a constituency returning officer to conduct a by-election, there be an officer, preferably the CEO of IEBC, who can, in an acting capacity, gazette the returning officer to conduct a by-election. Honorable Speaker, the Constitution and the law did not contemplate a situation where there exists vacancies in the office of all commissions. In fact, strict compliance with the law will have ensured that the vacancies haven't been filled, since the law contemplates that recruitment of new commissioners will have commenced 6 months before the expiry of the term of a member of IEBC. Constitutionally speaking, IEBC has the mandate of conducting and supervising elections and referenda in Kenya. This function is solely the mandate of the Commission. It cannot be performed by any other body, person, or authority unless the provisions of Article 88 of the Constitution are amended. This amendment therefore seeks to empower the CEO, who is the Secretary of the Commission, to perform the functions ordinarily performed by the Commission. The IEBC Act clearly distinguishes the responsibility of the Commission and those of the Secretariat. The Act provides that the Commission is responsible for policy formulation, strategy, and oversight, whereas the Secretariat is charged with the responsibility of day-to-day administration activities of the Commission, as well as implementation of the policies and strategies. The Constitution contemplates that upon the issuance of writs, by-elections are conducted within 90 days. This underscores the urgency of this matter, and we shall be in violation of the same Constitution if we do not act. Honorable Speaker, as you are aware, that every Kenyan has to be represented in the August House, either in the National Assembly or the Senate. Now, we have a situation whereby, of course, we never contemplated that we will never find ourselves in a situation whereby all the commissioners in the IEBC are not in office. I am fully aware that there's a dialogue team of which you are a member, and the co-chair is also sitting here, and I'm also aware about. But we are not aware what the timelines, what will happen to IEBC commissioners. Shall we have them in time? Are they going to be in office next week, next month, 2 months, 3 months? Even you being a member of that dialogue team, you don't have that answer. Neither does this House answer. So all we are saying is this. For a by-election to be conducted, a returning officer has to be gazetted. Maybe the drafters of the Constitution made a mistake by giving this small task of gazetting a returning officer to the chairperson of the Commission. Now we don't have the Commission. Nobody else is supposed to be gazetted unless we amend this Act. And amending this Act only says for the conduct of a by-election in the case of absence of the commissioners. If the commissioners will be in place, the CEO will not have these powers. Some people might say IEBC is the commissioners. They might be right, they might be wrong. But IEBC, as we speak now, is a body constituted and working. Even this House has appropriated funds. Why didn't we withhold funds for IEBC? If you are saying that without the commissioner, nothing can work. The same persons who are supposed to conduct these by-elections are staff working for IEBC. They are paid salaries, they are paid allowances. What is missing is that gazette notice by the chairman of IEBC. Now we don't have him in office. Will the people of Banisa, the people of Magarini, suffer because of issues that are not of their making? I don't think so. So it's time that we make amendments to this act. And it's for posterity. I am sure, probably in 2027, after elections, the commissions will also go away again, for whatever reasons. But if this act is in place, then if there's a by-election in a constituency, in a county assembly, then the CEO will be able to do or gazette a returning officer. And I want to make it very clear that this only works if the commissioners are not in office, and that this House can do. Honorable Speaker, this country has people represent them in this House. Every constituency, there are 290 constituencies. Unfortunately, this House now only represents 288 constituencies. We can't just look at that and then say nothing is happening. No, it's wrong. The Speaker issued the writs 8 months ago for a by-election. The Constitution says after issuance of writs, by-elections shall be conducted within 90 days. Now, we are already in contempt of the same Constitution. Has this House asked itself why we're in contempt, or IEBC for that matter is in contempt of the Constitution that says 90 days after issue of writs, there must be a by-election? They have found themselves in this situation. What do? We must fix the problem. How do we fix the problem? Let's amend this IEBC Act, which only covers by-elections in the absence of commissioners. And that's why I'm coming in front of this honorable House to listen to the appeal on behalf of the people of Kenya, on behalf of the people of Banisa, on behalf of the people of Magarini, and the over 20 county assemblies that are due for by-elections. Many people act in positions. So us saying that the CEO, who is currently running the IEBC, can act on behalf of the chairman is not a big deal. We have offices here in the country where people are acting and they perform. Yesterday, I was in the office of the Director General of Immigration. I found a lady there who's a career officer from immigration. She's acting. She's doing her job. Yet we're unable to confirm. So what we are saying is the CEO can perform this special task, which is limited only on timings. If commissions are in place, and we hope that your team and your dialogue team will do it, are in office, then this task of IEBC by the CEO cannot be done. He will have to relinquish to the chairman and the commissioners. But it's unfortunate that 9 months almost down the line, a constituency doesn't have a member of parliament. It's not fair. So let us do this amendment. I know the amendments are done in 2 ways: popular initiative and parliamentary initiative. I am bringing this as a parliamentary initiative. And it can work. My plea to this House is to support this amendment. When commissioners come to office, that means the task of the CEO, he will relinquish the task. So, Honorable Speaker, I don't want to say much. I've spoken much. I know members have listened to me. And with or without the report of the dialogue team, this IEBC amendment bill can be used for posterity in 2027 and beyond. So let's also say the commissioners will in place probably next week or 1 month or so. If we amend this act, it will be used for posterity. So I don't want to take much time. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek the support of this Honorable House and colleagues that this proposal gets the support and that there's no lacuna in law and afford the people of the right to franchise and representation, and especially the two constituencies that are now not represented very well in this House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I submit.
Thank you very much. The Speaker has directed that he will appoint a later time, at which time he will allow members to make general comments on these particular legislative proposals. And before we move to the next order, I wish to recognize visitors seated in the Speaker's gallery, Mr. David Sang and Mrs. Janet Sang from North Carolina, United States of America, who are here to familiarize themselves with the proceedings of Parliament on the invitation of the Honorable Member for Mosop, Honorable Kirwa. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 9, the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments. Number 2, Bill, National Assembly Bill number 68 of 2023, second reading.
I think Honorable Bayer, you were going to second?
Yes, yes. All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to second the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment Bill number 2 of 2023, National Assembly Bill number 68 of 2023. Honorable Speaker, this miscellaneous amendment bill 23 number 68 of 2023 is being read for the second time. And Honorable Speaker, as it is normal with miscellaneous amendment or statutory law amendment, it contains within it several pieces of legislations that would like to amend certain items that are just specific for short items within it, and therefore that's why we may move the statute law amendment bills. Honorable Speaker, in this bill, we talk about the Oath and Statutory Declaration Act that's being amended. And the reason for amending this, Honorable Speaker, is to provide that an advocate who has been appointed as a commissioner of oaths shall sign the roll kept by the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, and that the registrar or deputy registrar of a superior court or subordinate court may administer an oath or affirmation or take an affidavit or statutory declaration under the Act. That is what this bill wants to do in the Oath and Statutory Declaration Act Cap 15. Honorable Speaker, in the Advocates Act, this statute amendment law, Honorable Speaker, would like to amend the Advocates Act Cap 16. In this bill, the bill proposes the amendment of the Advocates Act to provide that the registrar responsible for keeping the roll of advocates shall be the chief registrar. So the bill proposes to amend the Act to provide that the Council of the Society may, with the Notaries Act, Public Act, that is Cap 17. The bill proposes to amend the Notaries Public Act to provide that the Registrar of the Judiciary shall be responsible, appointed by the Chief Justice, shall be 3 in number, which is intended to improve decision-making within the Rules Committee and reduce the cost of facilitating. Holidays Act, that is Cap 110, is being amended to ensure that, to delete the provisions for Utamaduni Day as a public holiday. Honorable Speaker, again, in this bill, we have amendments in the Trustees Perpetual in the Traffic Act, that is Cap 403. In this amendment, Honorable Speaker, the bill proposes to amend the Traffic Act to incorporate the use of technology in the management of minor traffic offenses. Honorable Speaker, we also have amendments in the Sexual Offences Act, that is Act 2006, number 3 of 2006. The bill proposes to amend the Sexual Offences Act 2006 to provide that the Register of Offences in the Employment Act 2007, that is number 11 of 2007. The bill proposes to amend the Employment Act 2007 to exempt the National Intelligence Service from the application of the Act in the same manner as other national security organs are exempted. Honorable Speaker, we also will amend the Veterinary Surgeons and Veterinary Professionals Act 2011. The bill proposes to amend the Veterinary Surgeons and Veterinary Professionals Act 2007 to make minor corrections to the provisions relating to the definition of animal resource industry, annual license, private practice, register, and veterinary medicine, and grammatical errors occurring in other provisions of this Act. Honorable Speaker, this is the Act that you see very many people posting that if you keep a cow, you will have to have a license to, I don't know, 5,000. That is not here, it's neither here nor there. These are just creations of some busybodies out there. But we have certain definitions we need to make in this bill. Honorable Speaker, the Public Finance Management Act 2012, number 18 of 2012, is going to be amended to amend the Finance Management Act to cure inconsistencies in the provisions of the Act on the submission of the finance bill. We have amendments in the Universities Bill, number 42 of 2012, Honorable Speaker, to provide for the declaration of technical universities under Section 25 of the Act in respect of the public institutions that are or were national polytechnics. The Office of the Attorney General Act 2012 is going to be amended, Honorable Speaker, and the bill proposes to amend the Office of the Attorney General Act 2012 to remove inconsistencies in the operation framework of the Office of the Attorney General in line with Article 156 of the Constitution that establishes that the Office of the Attorney General is an independent office. Honorable Speaker, as I close, we also have amendments in the Civil Aviation Act of 2016 and the Value Added Tax of 2023 that the bill proposes to amend the Value Added Tax 2013 to reclassify the supply of gas meters of tariff number 9028.10.00 and the supply of denatured ethanol of tariff number that as exempt and zero rated respectively. And lastly, we have the Privatization Act 2023. The bill proposes to amend the Privatization Act 2023 to cure the inconsistencies between the role of the authority and that of the Cabinet Secretary. Honorable Speaker, I beg to second this bill, and I request members of this House to go through the many clauses that are changing. At times, people call this the guillotining of law, and sometimes very many laws could pass without it catching the eyes of members, and therefore we could pass bad law just because members did not go through thoroughly to ensure that they understand the provisions that are given and that we pass good law, so that when it comes to third reading, we don't just pass, but we sift through, understand the laws that we are passing, understand the amendments that we are making, so that we end up with good law. We have seen a flurry of court cases on some of the amendments that we have done and some of the laws, and the courts have been ahead of us in many things. But I think as we process this bill, Honorable Speaker, we shall be awoke to the fact that we need to do due diligence and pass good law. Honorable Speaker, I second. I thank you.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments Bill number 2, National Assembly Bill number 68 of 2023 be read a second time. Honorable George Murugara.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this bill, the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment Bill number 2, 2023. The lead of majority and the deputy lead of majority have actually elaborated on the proposals being made here, but most important is to note that a miscellaneous amendment bill does not make substantive amendments to acts of parliament. What it does is to bring in routine amendments which really do not have a lot of impact on the proposed law or the act of parliament to be amended. And this is actually the case here, having gone through the various laws that are proposed for amendment. And most important is to confirm that when this bill was read a first time, the various laws were committed to various committees of this House, which committees had instructions to conduct public participation. Therefore, it does not behove on anyone to say that this law was passed by Parliament without public participation. My committee, Justice and Legal Affairs, conducted the public participation yesterday. We have made an elaborate report, which is available for members to study as soon as it is tabled to the House, together with the reports of the other committees that looked at the various proposed amendments. Most of the proposals actually are routine and do not merit a lot of arguments because they are purely either aligning or trying to make the law applicable better than it is. That applies to the Oaths and Statutory Declarations Act, which now makes magistrates able to administer oaths and affirmations when they are appointed as magistrates. The Advocates Act, which now proposes that the Law Society Council can actually make laws as far as admission of advocates is concerned. There was a bit of hesitation to this, and there may be a proposed amendment because the issue of admitting advocates under the Advocates Act is a preserve of the Chief Justice. And it is the Chief Justice who is supposed to promulgate any rules and regulations when this comes to be. But the report by Justice and Legal Affairs is going to look at this, and if it is to propose amendments, then those will be moved at the third reading of this bill. The same applies to the Notaries Public Bill, in which magistrates have to become notaries public. The problem with that is, even for advocates to become notaries public, you must have practiced for at least 5 years. So we cannot have a magistrate appointed after 3 years of admission becoming a notary public straight away. Again, we have to look at this. The Civil Procedure Act, which is the act that encompasses the law regarding hearings of civil matters, is proposed to be amended so that the composition of the Rules Committee is slightly enhanced, especially the appointment by the Law Society of Kenya. Here, we observe that that may actually be necessary because advocates are the greatest consumers of the Civil Procedure Act and the rules that are made thereunder. Quite interesting that we are now doing away with Utamaduni Day, which variously used to also be known as Huduma Day. This is under the Public Holidays Act, Cap 110 of the laws of Kenya. There has been debate ever since this day was made a holiday bearing the title Moi Day, and there were questions as to whether it was really necessary for the country to have such a holiday. But that was in honor of the late President